Great, welcome everyone to another Immortals practice with Jane and Willem, guest teacher. Okay, let's take right hand in fist, please. Left hand straight in front of the heart. We press forwards. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you with. I really enjoy. Okay, folks, let's do a little bit of warm up. Back to this spiraling of the hips. Three of us actually in this group were over in Donegal last weekend training, doing Chen style training. And again, the emphasis was put on this move. And much as I have done loads and loads and loads of this move, I'm starting to understand the sort of deeper aspect to it that I had been missing, which is really, it's all about releasing and loosening. So I want you to think of melting your core into the bowl of your hips, into the four corners, and see if you can get that lovely loose release. So for me, I'm starting to realize it's not that I'm stiff in my hips, but I tend to hold my hips. I'm a control freak and I'm holding them. Whereas we want to keep good posture, the top of the head lengthens up, and we want to melt and release, let hang the body through the hips. And when we do that, we get a really lovely lubricated feeling of movement and freedom in the hips. And that's what we're working towards. So first we want to loosen the physical structures, but we do that with this emphasis of letting go. And I'm only starting to tap into that, I think, and it will take a while. Good. Now, let's very gently and slowly change direction. Try doing 30 of these exercises, the squares, every day. That's your bare minimum. Now, the teacher that we had at the weekend, Jill, she talks about having the knees just off the lock. She feels that that's the best, the optimal position for this exercise, though I've played with it in a high stance like that and a slightly deeper stance, and it is a different exercise when you deepen your stance, but I think it's just as viable. What would you say, Willem?
Yeah, I didn't understand that. She kind of said that it doesn't work if you bend your knees more.
Yeah, I think it does. It's just when you're bending your knees, you're engaging your leg muscles a little bit more. Maybe she's going for an absolute release with no effort. But play around with it yourself. Don't take our word or her word for it. Feel into your body. I know some of you have taken this quite advanced already, and it's just something to play with. So 30 squares in each direction is your minimum. If you're going to do it, you might as well do 30. But the sky's the limit for maximum. Master Chen likes 500 in each direction. There have been times when I've aimed for 500 and I found myself stiffening up at around the 300, and then that's defeating the point. So you have to work within your comfortable limits. Even something like this, very soft, very internal, you can overdo it. And then it's counterproductive. So go until you feel you're really nice and loose. The joints, the tissues are all moving nicely. If you find that things are tightening up again, you've gone too far. So we build it up. Well done. All right, come back to center and release, relax. Let's shake out. Now, something else. Actually, this is Alison's exercise. She was talking to me about shaking. Let's just try dangle. Now I find myself kind of leaning into it. You can do that if it helps, but even just letting the arm go, and we want to go all kind of floppy and wiggle the bones around. So we want the tissue, the soft tissue, to kind of melt and jiggle. And we want the bones to release. I'm going to come closer and see. And I'm just starting to play with this as well. So I'm by no means an expert at this, but you're just wanting to release and to jiggle. And that's it. Now I'm following Alison's lead, actually, because she knows it more than me. You can lean into it. So you're letting the joints hang out of their sockets. And this one you can play with. And we really want to get to the point that everything's very jiggly, very loose. There's lots and lots of releasing going there. Good. Okay, and let's go to the other side. And of course, the longer you do this, it's going to change the feeling as well. If you start, I feel it's very mechanical, everything's kind of tight. But as I wobble and breathe, breathing is so important for this, everything kind of loosens, and you even start to see it kind of looks like the arm has no bones. You feel the tissues kind of jiggling around. Even did it the other day while I was walking. I let go of my calf muscles and they jiggled like jelly. It was actually quite painful because I had been doing so much training at the weekend, but it was also really nice feeling of release. Good. Okay, so that's something to work on. Try leaning into it. Let the joints hang out of their sockets and jiggle around. That's the feeling that we're listening for, is this jellification, loosening, releasing. And now if you feel into your arms and breathe, you feel that chi flowing, you feel a tingling, you feel a response, similar to the vibing shout to the heel taps. Can we try it with the legs? You might want to hold on to something. But just again, just giving them a good jiggling about. Good. Think of loosening, flopping, wiggling, let everything go all kind of jelly-like. And I find if you just go forwards and back, yes, you'll feel ankle joints loosening, but actually if you kind of give it a left and right, you get more 3D jiggling going on. That's a good exercise for for balance as well. And let's try on the other side and just give it a bit of a jiggle. The body is such an incredible, complex mechanism. There's so many ways to tap into it, to work with it. And I think it's important to stay a bit playful and a bit experimentative. I don't know the word, but experiment. You'll know if your body doesn't like it, and for heaven's sakes, if your body's screaming at you, stop. Do stop. Don't just keep piling away at it, but have a play, because some little obvious moves can make such a difference if you try them. Good. Okay, so once through the Phoenix, just for a bit of a brain wake up, and then into Immortals. Happy enough with that, Willem? Mm-hmm. How about if I do the mirror view and you do the back view, and then we have best of both worlds. You can see the palm positions as well. Okay, we'll try it. Experimentation. Okay, folks, are we ready? Bring the heels together, the toes slightly apart. We lengthen up through the very top of the head. The chin slightly down and back. Take time in Wuji to calm, to release, to settle down. Very gently feeling into your hands. Feeling into the very tips of the fingers and gently, slowly engage them. Press them down. And feel for your best connection where the energy zings. Keep that feeling. Let the hands have liveliness and movement as we practice. When you're ready, we begin. Right hand under. And stand, step. Release the back foot. And step. Over the rainbow. And through in. Back. And squeeze. And sit. Within the toes. And under the arm. Along the line of the arm to make a circle. And relax down. Stepping back. Pierce. And twist. And square up, sit back. Turn. Immortal rides the donkey. Right hand and fist. Relaxed. Move left foot. Phoenix stretches its wings. Dragon chases Phoenix. Swimming dragon. Reverse pouring gourd. Phoenix greets the morning sun. Phoenix in graceful clouds of blessing. Left foot steps back. And right foot. Turn. Right hand over. And then left. Right hand up, left hand down. Phoenix couple, return home. And return to neutral. Who's right? It doesn't matter. Good. And recover. Well done. Oh, that was beautiful. I don't know how easy it was to follow, folks, but I enjoyed that. That was lovely. It's kind of like, you know, the ice skating that they do it in synchronicity. I was trying to move with you. It's always nice if people train together, that you move together, you try to breathe together. Thank you very much. That was lovely to have the back and front view at the same time. Great. Okay, folks, now let us leave the Phoenix. That was our little warm-up. We're going on to our Immortals form. Now, Willem, just because you're here, is there anything that you're working on, particularly in the Immortals now? Just doing the whole thing? Okay. Last week we were talking a little bit about the squaring up of the hips and sitting back.
That's it. Stances and structure is the most important for me.
Yeah.
Keep working on that.
Yeah. And I feel I'm kind of scratching the surface in the Immortals with the structure. You know, I find myself, if the toes are turned, I turn my hips. So we'll do it once together, folks. We'll do the whole form, and maybe if you're happy to, just a little emphasis in a few places. for structure, that would be wonderful. As well, while he's here, folks, we might as well use him. Make use of his skill. Thank you. Okay, so this time I think we will do back view. Yeah, let's do back view. Unless, do you want to have a go at front view?
I could try.
Okay, we'll try. Yeah, and that gives you an insight into hand positions. But folks, bear with us, because yeah, we'll just join yourselves in. Okay,
Fine.
so I'll do the back view then. Yeah. All right. Which way? That way. Okay.
Tiny.
Okay. Okay. Okay, folks. So let's lengthen up through the top of the head. The chin slightly down and back. Take a few moments. And again, just let yourself calm down. Whistle behind. And engaging the fingers. Let's begin. Left hand scoops.
I hope we're not just confusing everybody.
Well, if we are, just look at one person and ignore the other.
I'm not sure. I can do that.
Circle. Circle. Holding floor stroke. Back with the back foot. Right hand crosses over. Casting a fishing line. Sweeping over the sleeve. Beyond shadow. Turning to the back, so now you can form Willem. Still turning to the back. Keep going. Left shoulder back. Circle walking. Step to the back. Fishing fingers. Keep circling. Leap circles. You're doing very well. And one. Right hand crosses over, and you can do the jump kick, or you can do 2 balances. Balancing, what he's doing. And you're stepping back for immortal sacred sword. This. And good. Facing left. Oh, I think that deserves a medal. Very well done. So, folks, that may have been very confusing, but this is a video, so you can play it back. It may actually help with the hand positions to know what you're doing. Very well done. And I haven't even attempted to do it. I tried once and gave up. Yes, is there a question, comment?
No, it was just very interesting watching both of you, you know, different angles, but yeah, it was cool.
Thank you. That's very good. Yeah.
I assume you see personal differences here.
Yeah. No, not so obvious.
No, it was just the way you crossed between each other, you know, but you kept going. Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes I take my diagonals a little deeper than Willem does. It's, you know, if we practice that as a performance, we would sort of get it down and get our angles in position. But actually, Master Locke does teach in his teaching, in his in-depth teaching, that you can adjust the angles, so it's not set in stone. Do you want to have a wee word about that?
Well, yeah, he talks about 25 to 45 degrees. So when you go into your corners, you can go 45 into your corners, or you can go more to the sides. So after your first opening move, yeah, you're not going straight to the side. It's a little bit into the corner at least, or up to 45 degrees. That's the kind of angles. So you can go, yeah, you can go a little bit out or 45 degrees, 25 to 45.
Yeah, and that gives us a lot of leeway to play with. So part of it is personal preference, but also part of it is, again, how free and easy our movement is. If our hips are stiff, we don't want to be really putting pressure into them to introduce tension. So then maybe your angles might be more to the corner, whereas if you have more freedom of movement, you can go more out to the side.
It's also, you see in your opening move, the emerging dragon, yeah, pick a direction. If you see which direction my hand is now, from my center body to where my hand is defending, it's, yeah, it could be about 25 or it could be 45, depending on how big your stance is, how big your circle is in your arms. If you're holding a small circle, then be more like 45. Make a bigger circle, that angle changes again. So it depends on how deep your stances is on your hips or what, yeah, on how big your circles are. So
there's a lot of adaptability within Tai Chi, and for a lot of people, especially at the beginning, that's annoying and confusing because you just want one size fits all. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'm like that. I like to be told where to go and what to do, but there is leeway and there's good reason for it. But as I say, if you're doing a performance together, it's best to all agree on what's comfortable for everyone and then try and do it as together as possible, because that looks and feels really nice. Okay, folks, so let's now do it a little bit less mind-bendingly. We'll all do it together facing the front, and we'll just go through nice gentle pace, and then we'll maybe start to look at this alignment aspect. Okay. Thank you, well done. Okay, all right. Maybe you should be the one for
Maybe,
because he's tall and I'm small. It's like, well, the cows on the table are small, the ones in the field are far away. Master, or what's his name? Father Ted. Oh, Master Ted, yeah. Okay. Are we ready? Check posture. Calming down. Engage your fingers. And that's good. Stepping with the left, circling the arms. Stepping with the right, keep circling. Kick, step down, good. Good. Well done. Lovely. Very nice. Now, while Dylan's here, I want to ask him questions. Hopefully, you know, any question that anyone asks will help everyone. Hopefully. So beyond shadow, there is a point in this form that you might not think it, but I actually feel the most weak at that point. I'm going to show you and see if you have anything to say about it. So you've done your what have you done? You've done your kick and your step and your full pluck and lift. Now this movement is fine, brush knee push, but here I feel very kind of like I'm hanging over and not supported here. I want to turn my foot out. It feels very kind of empty, this movement.
What direction do you do your moving before that? Let's say the brush knee, you do it straight to the side.
I'm doing it straight to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just don't overdo it. If any rotation here is from the waist, once you finish, your hips are loose, hanging. There's no tightness in the hips. Just release. Again, you want to kind of release, coming in line with the line of the heels.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of already having the hips to the front.
Yeah, there's a theme here. Yeah, okay.
But that means the waist is already turned.
And
the waist is going to turn even more. So that's naturally a tricky point.
yeah.
There's a lot of turn in the waist. I think from kind of a loose position where there is twist in the waist, but again, the waist shouldn't be tied up. You know, you shouldn't be to your full extent. There's still looseness. There's a moment where you kind of fully turn your waist. That's work. That kind of presses into the stomach area, kind of twists you up. So it's normal. But make sure you don't over rotate the hips. If your foot wants to step out, there's stability in the stance that's gone.
That's what has happened because my hips, I was doing it like Tai Chi, like the 24 brush knee push. So my hips were already pointing in line with my toes. And then as I was going here, even then, I think if I had relaxed into the hip, like we were talking about earlier, it would have been okay, but I felt stiff and I felt overhanging rather than.
Here's the thing, we want our stances to be solid. We say earth supports heaven. Earth is like the stance is quite square. Aim for the toes forward. Usually the back foot goes out a little bit. We kind of aim for the toes straight forward. That's your square stance. That should be your stability, your platform. On top of the platform, we have that. We have heaven, we have rotation, everything is around. So you're able to turn.
That feels a lot better.
Twist.
Yeah, just having.
So feel in your body as well, where it separates maybe from about Dantian down. It's the stability of the stance from Dantian up. And it's the flexibility, the freedom.
Yeah, that feels a lot better. I think I was square and then I was stuck.
It is an issue.
Yeah, so if I keep my hips, like you say, in line with the heel, it's like I know the theory, but it's getting it into the practice that is difficult. So there's my brush knee push. If I'm from here, so much better. And it feels like a wind up as opposed to a disconnect.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
whereas before I kept feeling
Yes.
disconnected.
It's working with the elasticity of the body. If your structure is good, it's a wind up. Yeah, very good. You wind up so it wants to unleash. I was going to say it wants to release. Yeah,
Great.
but unleash if you're talking in martial terms.
Rah.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, hopefully that little moment of my greatest difficulty at this point has helped you as well to understand that keeping the hips in line with the heels and then turning from center as opposed to just having the hips square in the direction of the front foot.
Shall we do a little exercise with this?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just do that move repetitively a couple of times. So come back in your space a little bit. Let's say in the form, we are stepping left foot forward, Keep your feet about shoulder width, so don't step on a straight line. Step it out a bit. Toes aim to be forward. If we sit in, yeah, if the back foot is slightly out, back foot is slightly turned, that's all right. Aim for forward. So just find your best stance in that. Then we do our brush knee. So check that position. Check your tailbone is down. We don't want the hips fully to the front. As we sink the tailbone down, it kind of screws onto the 45. Hips are about 45. The waist is doing more work. But feel the bone structure. Feel everything is loose. There's no stiffness in the hips. You don't have to overextend. So come back a little bit if your structure is compromised. Really get a nice connection. No tension in the knees and the ankles. The hips and the spine, shoulders, everything loose. Keep in that stance. You're going to wind up, right arm over left. And you will circle, stepping in and forward. Then we make like a brush knee on the right. Again, as we sit down, the hips tend towards the 45 degrees. Waist is doing a lot more work, very good for the health. And again, when you're loose and comfortable, feel your spine is hanging, hips are open, knees and ankles release. We continue to wind up, left arm over right. Find your balloon, roll it, stepping. You can help step in here. Help step in, switch. So again, feel your structure, loosen up. Wind up. And express. See if we can do one more. Wind up. You want to do that again?
Yes, I do. I hope you do. Yeah.
Everybody understand what we're working on? Well, everybody could be working on different things within that step, but yeah, make sure your structure is nice and loose. Get that elastic feeling. The waist should be doing a lot of work. Yeah, if you're sitting into your stance, the waist is gonna go. If those hips come to about straight, that's all right. We don't really want to hold them back too much either. But if you sit deep in your stance, that's kind of the natural point. You're gonna twist against that. If the hips come slightly more to the front, don't be too strict on yourself.
Yeah.
But this is just a guideline. Guideline is toes forward, the hips on the 45 in line with the heels. Hips level, so there's not one up, one down. Feel like they're loose hanging. The spine gets to twist. Spine is already twisted, so we're gonna even twist it more. Just for a moment. Yeah, but keep the joints nice and loose, so you can turn. All right, let's do one more time. We start again. Let's step the left foot. We do little steps. So starting with our brushing position. Feel the tailbone, feel the hips, sinking into the right position, but still floating loose. And right arm over left. Roll around your balloon. Right palm is going to turn down. Left palm pressing forward. Half step in. More the upper body twisting from dantian up. Stance changing. Nicely. And the stepping happens when you start to release. You wind up first. Your stance helps to give you elasticity. And when you're ready to unwind, step and unwind into your position.
Very nice. So is that a nice example of the alignment of the hips and the heels?
Yeah, but that's, you see in this one, everything is kind of working against each other. So that's a really difficult one. The waist is already working. It has to work extra to go on that side, to go over the knee on the opposite side. So you really need a lot of waist flexibility.
But we use that move again and again in this form, don't we? You have the
Yeah.
fishing or casting the fishing net.
Yes.
And there's another time near the end, the jump kick or the Immortals overlooking territory.
Yeah. This one is just a bit more extreme than most.
Right. Okay. So maybe that's why it seemed so obvious to me. Something wasn't quite working.
Yeah, very good. Any questions about this? No. Any other questions, maybe? Any steps you want to work on?
Yeah, we're thinking about it.
Or you want to do this again a couple of times? If we can improve this step, you'll improve your whole form. So
Yeah.
we don't need to look further.
Let's look at this step again, and that gives you time to think. And then if there's any questions, we can jump in.
You want to continue the back view, and I'll do the front view.
Sure.
Might.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah. It's a little bit good. So let's step out again your left foot. So you can use me as a mirror. That's it. And again, we come into our brush knee position, just placing the hips where they're at the right place. If you're used to straight forward, try to sink, try to open that back hip a little bit. So the quad is hollow. Don't push the quad forward. This needs to be a little bit hollow. Gives a good guideline for the hips. And we're ready to go. So upper body initiates the move, winding up. Breathe, release your winding up to the step, and the hands follow. Half a step. Again. Release. Keeping your stance happy. Use your upper body from dantian up first to wind up. And follow with the legs. Release. Step in. Let's go again if we can. Yeah, maybe 2 more steps. Find your balloon. Good. 1 more. Over. Find your balloon. I was really turning my hips a lot there. We try not to. Let's do 1 more time.
It's amazing, isn't it? You think, oh, I've got it.
Yeah.
There's so much depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was happening with me as well there, same thing. If we're here, as I wound, yeah, the hips will go. And you don't want that. You're losing all your power. Naturally, they want to go because your arms are winding you up. But try to let the hips be part of the wind up. The hips still anchor down, which makes everything in between work a lot more. Yeah, so we'll try again. I need to improve. Maybe we all need to.
We all need to improve.
I'm going to talk less and focus more on. Oh, sorry, we're stepping left foot, right? Left foot. Let's get ready. Do this 1 more time. About 5 steps. 6. Keeping those hips in place. I can see. Winding. In. Wind up. Feel twist throughout your legs and your upper body. Keep the legs in place. Keep those heels down as we wind up. Twist. Twist. Release. Twist. And okay, very good. How does it feel, everybody? Feedback. How does it feel to you?
It feels different because if you're used to doing Yang style, I think the majority of the group have done some. Actually, no, maybe some of them haven't. They've done Chen style, but Yang style is very prescribed, square on to the front foot, and it does have that extreme sort of stretching in the hip that Master Lock tends to avoid. It's more locked. So because I've done that millions of times, it is quite difficult to then re-educate myself, but I actually really like this. It feels it's more in-fitting with the Chen principle of this really loose, flexible qua that we're aiming for. So, and it feels more rooted. So I'm really liking it, but it is a challenge just to counteract it. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Any comments?
Any comments? Any feedback? Nope.
Can I see
Okay.
the hands again? Can I see the hand?
Hands.
Yeah. So let's say, let my left foot out. From this angle, JR? Yeah. Okay. So one hand comes over the other. I can flip the bottom hand just to get a feeling of holding a balloon. There's my balloon. It's a bit taken out of proportion. My body's twisted. That balloon is a bit squeezed as well. Then I go cover, not step on the cat. This palm turns down. This palm turns forward. Yeah. So from the other side, roll your hands. Find your balloon. Roll it, make it bigger. Expanding. Finishing. This hand here is about just beside your leg. Front. And this hand, well, would be about middle line.
So your palms are already facing each other, are facing the ball as you come across.
I tend to turn the palms in towards each other a little bit. Yeah, as you come over, turn the palms in. Roll the ball, which would put the back of the palm, the back of the hand forward to block. As you block, you can turn into a grab. You can roll the ball. As the hand comes forward, you can turn the palm forward. And the backhand follows. Yeah. So again, if Jane wants to punch me, she already saw that coming. It's very good to block with the back of the hand, keeps you safer. So I block with the front, and she hits my thumb, the fingers, they're gonna bend back. This is safe. Yeah, so you want to catch here as she hits rotation. Yeah, so if she comes with a punch, no, same fine. Yeah, yeah. The moment she hits, I rotate. Yeah, so slow motion. This is where I change the hand. You can grab, I'll not grab now. It's just that could be strike. Strike should be controlling. The different applications, many applications here. The main thing is the hand that comes forward is going to turn as you block and be in the ground. Okay.
What would you say to doing the form again and just letting that start to percolate down into the awareness?
Like I said, the stance work is the same for every stance. Now we've practiced a little bit on the hip alignment, on the feet alignment, on the working of your upper body. You see a lot of moves. We always say relax in Tai Chi. Everything should be relaxed, but it's very deceiving. At the same time, everything is stretched against itself. The body is working. That's what you want. If it feels like a lot of work, you're not doing it wrong. It's just within that work, within the twisting and the winding up of the body, you still want everything to be as loose as you can, but the body is working. Yeah. But if we can work on all these details in the one step, you can feel these same things going throughout the form. Where does the step repair? Where does the energy wind up? Where does it release and express? Yeah. Thank you. We're just enjoying the cat. Let's do the form again.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll put this cat out. Sorry, guys. Come here now. Come on. When you're ready, lengthening fingers down. Stop.
So, use the weights to work it. And release.
Well, thank you. There's lots of room for development within this form, isn't there? There's
For me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's Master Locke's own unique style, but I definitely feel that there is a nod to Chen style. There's a nod to the basic principles of Tai Chi, even though some of the application is quite different, from Yang style especially. I think there's a lot of really important basic principle stuff in this that can help with all of our Tai Chi, strengthening and creating flexibility. So that was really lovely. I hope you enjoyed Willem's insights. I really did. I love picking his brains. That sounds awful, doesn't it? But I love asking him this stuff, folks. It's really nice. It's kind of like an insight into my training as well as your own. So shall we warm down?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a. Thank you very much for all that. I'll go over here. Okay. Teacher stands this side apparently. Okay. Run. Let's lift up and we pat downwards. I want you to think of letting go of any of that tension. And as you practice, if we're unsure, we can't help but add tension. Now we want to let it all go again. We want to let it go as we feel it, but we want to let it go afterwards. Patting downwards. Think of that tension, that used up energy. What no longer serves is like dust and it's flying away, turning to light. It's releasing from your system. As energy does, it transforms. And let's brush down, brush. If you want more energy at the end of class, give it a little flick at the end of the brush, and that stimulates the chi to switch on. It's a bit more invigorating. If you want to calm yourself and sleep or rest, make it more of a caress, make it more gentle, more flowing off and release. Lengthen away, flow off and release. Lengthen away. You can do the same with the body. Flow off, release, lengthen away, flow off, down the back, release, lengthen away. By doing that, you get a more of a cushioning, releasing, gentle finish to your class. Very good, very good. And I think a little bit more of that wobbling the tissues off the bone. Really nice as warm-up. I think any warm-up exercises really are excellent as warm-down exercises as well. You're just tapping into the body, checking in with it, loosening, releasing. Have a little moment with the legs. Little bit of wobble, little bit of flop. Let the joints release. Let the muscles release. Calming down. Let's take 3 breaths, please, to finish. Floating up on the in-breath. And calming down on the out-breath. Last time, suspend your breath at the top, pressing your fingers into the sky, pressing your toes into the earth, feeling into your body, sealing in that resonance, that good energy, that good work, and let go, breathing out, guide your energy back down into the reservoir, into the sea of chi in your belly. Hug your elbows gently in. And breathe and feel into that center of the body. Feel your energy is stronger. Beautiful work today, folks. Relax your arms gently down. Let's close and we'll salute each other. Thank you very much. And Welsh Hall, thank you to the teachers.
Oh.
Thank you. And very well done, folks. Wishing you a very pleasant weekend.